All right, y'all. Good eye on. We're taking a look at Aussie homes, okay? Because look, I'm way up here in the U.S. and where I am, it's actually extremely cold. It's winter, of course, and it's more cold than than usual. I meant to say it's just freezing. You can see I got the fire going here, and I want to see somewhere warm. I want to see what the houses are looking like in Australia. I want to see the sun. We're going to be taking a look at that. Some different houses, different price ranges, different locations. See what we can find, okay? I need y'all to give me a little bit of sunshine and warmth, okay? I need it.
Does $1 million versus $5 million versus $10 million get you in the most expensive city in the world?
Well, shit. I don't got that kind of money, so I guess I'm out already. Let's see. This is crazy. I know big cities are expensive, especially Sydney. Here we go. Brace yourself.
$1 million house, you're looking at about a 38-minute drive from the Sydney CBD, assuming no traffic. Okay. It's a single story with 3 bedrooms
and 1
bathroom, and it looks pretty small. I don't know about you, but when I think $1 million, this isn't necessarily what...
That is $1 million for real? I hope he's not clickbaiting us. I kind of believe him, actually. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with that house, right? It's a little bit tight, I think. A little bit small, but it's not a big deal. It's not ugly or anything. It's a cool little house. Got a nice yard, got a driveway, got a garage. Boy, $1 million though? Ooh. Okay, let's move on.
Pretty small. I don't know about you, but when
it's not for everybody.
$1 million, this isn't necessarily what comes to mind. The $5 million house, though, is insane. Whoa. This thing has 7 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, an elevator, a massive pool. At the $5 million house, you're looking at about a 42-minute drive from the city. Again, assuming no traffic.
So it's way out there again. Not a big deal, but just throwing that out there. Look, yeah, it's a wow factor. It's got a pretty cool design up top there. It's an interesting home. This is a home I would never want. I could never pay that, nor would I want to, and I just wouldn't anyway. It's just, this is too big. Now, if you have this kind of house, more power to you. Nothing but respect. This is just not my style, man. This is way too big, way too, kind of loud, like way too loud looking, like, whoa. Holy smokes. Let's see it, though. It should be interesting inside.
At this point, you're surely moved to the city, right? At the $10 million house, you're literally right on the water, and you're looking at about an 18-minute drive from the city. Besides the location, it's a pretty normal house with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms.
Okay, so that's interesting. The $10 million house is smaller, almost significantly smaller. But in real estate, it's always location, 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 right?
I mean, it does have a literal beach right next to it.
Got your own beach.
Like this boathouse thing. I don't know. I'm not rich enough to know this. Would you guys rather live in the $5 million or the $10 million house? What?
And my bad, I forgot that we're not looking inside. But what would you take there? Genuine question. I guess I'd take the $1 million house. And I'm assuming some people, when you're answering this, maybe you wouldn't take any of these. And quite frankly, that would probably be my answer as well. Interesting start, though. These were all around Sydney, or a little bit outside of it, rather. Exploring this beautiful Sydney heritage home. Oh, that's cool. Wow, that thing's nice and open inside, even though it's an older home. That's usually not the case here, so that's cool to see. Beautiful landscaping. I like just the vibe of Australia. It's so cool, especially Sydney. Blue skies, that's what we want. Yeah, I like this house. Yeah, I don't know how old it is. It doesn't say. It just says it's a heritage house. I'm sure it's had a little bit of upkeep, maybe some, a little bit of renovation or modernization to an extent, but it's really pretty cool and a lot different than the first couple homes we saw, at least I think. I like it. I wonder, now, does this not have a garage? That's interesting. It looks like it has a Tesla in the driveway with like a not supercharger, whatever you call that, Tesla charger at home. So that's cool for if you're an EV fan. I'm not too much of one, but, I wonder if it has a garage. If not a big deal, but that would be kind of shocking. I wonder how much this one is. And people in the comments are really liking this house as well. It says it was slightly renovated in 2020. So a little bit of a modern renovation, but overall it's still an older home. I don't know how old, but at least a few decades, I imagine. No one warned us about Australian houses. Okay, where is this? Swan Valley, it says. I don't know where that is. So you'll have to let me know. They're just going through some different neighborhoods, it looks like. I mean, this is what's cool, right? Australian homes, they're really unique. So they remind me more. It's a nice roundabout. I like that. They remind me more of like sort of American neighborhoods that we would have here, but they're not quite the same either, right? They're different than like a lot of the European stuff I see, right? That's more of a like super stark contrast to what I'm used to over here. But like these are still unique, right? I will say there's more variety. I'm sure you have like the same phenomenon where like newer homes are a little less, have a little less character than older homes. That's normal. That's like a thing everywhere. But I feel like these are a little less cookie cutter than some neighborhoods you can find here, right? You can find some good neighborhoods here that are pretty interesting. You can find some that you can tell were slapped together, same builder, and it's kind of like, whoa, these are all the same. This is kind of boring. So, like, at least from what I'm seeing here, these look still pretty fascinating. It's like a blend of styles, even on the same street, which I actually like.
You want to live in a luxury 110-metre long shed? The Longhouse is an Australian architectural icon that looks more like a giant greenhouse than an award-winning home. The building is made up of a series of interconnected internal gardens, all dotted with little cubby houses as accommodation. There's one up here and another up there, which comprise 2 of the home's 5 bedrooms. It's all built with eco-friendly materials, and everywhere you look is swimming with earthy texture. The heart of the home is definitely the garden kitchen. The Longhouse holds high-end cooking classes here, where famous chefs whip up meals in the wood fire oven or the Portuguese grill. As the property contains a huge veggie garden, an orchard, as well as facilities for cattle, goats, pigs, and chickens, your weeknight dinners will truly be farm to table.
See, now that's cool, right? This one is pretty wild. I mean, 100 meters long or a little more. Very odd, right? I feel like this would be a little much, like a little weird to get used to. I mean, I'm sure it's extremely unique and honestly kind of fun to kind of explore around there. I feel like this is not practical for most people, that's for sure, but it's definitely interesting. And if you had people over, they would be, in for a unique experience. That's for sure. I like the somewhat, you get the interesting, sustainable materials, you get farm to table capability, essentially. I mean, yeah, you can't argue with that. That's pretty cool. But damn, what are y'all's thoughts on a 100-meter long shed house, as she said? That's pretty fascinating.
A little cubby house. It even has a tiny pond filled with fish. And this is my favorite of the home's 4 bathrooms, which shows off the house's intricate and unique brickwork. Back here is a self-contained residential zone with its own kitchen, living room, and fireplace.
Wow.
And this gorgeous dining room with picture windows. I could sit here looking at this view all day.
Yeah, it looks like it's in a great area, like very beautiful terrain.
And a bathroom up above. So, what do you think? Would you want to live in a giant greenhouse like this? It's been featured on Grand Designs, won the Robin Boyd Award for Residential Architecture, and
I mean, yeah, it's impressive. It's one of those wild projects that's super different, super innovative, you could say. Obviously not something most people are ever going to have. And I bet, hearing all this, I bet this is super expensive. Super expensive. I don't even know where it is, but I bet it's really expensive. Some of the comments actually crack me up here. Maintenance would be a nightmare. That's kind of what I was hinting at. Yeah, I can't disagree. Literally anywhere but Australia, the amount of deadly spiders and snakes in that place would attract in the Aussie bush. That might be true. I mean, this is a lot of real estate here, a lot of square footage or whatever you guys would say over there to keep track of. Yikes. Yeah, not my thing at all, but I will say it is very unique and an interesting one to look at. I love looking at interesting homes, even if it's something I would never, ever live in. This is a dream Australian home. So this one's a little cheaper. This is under $1 million, quite a bit under $1 million, actually. So I don't know if this could be considered like more affordable. I'm not an expert on this. Of course, these are all Australian dollar prices. But this looks like a pretty decent, modern place. Nice and open. Yeah, it looks pretty cool, right? Looks like it's definitely newer, right? Everything's crisp and fresh. And, some people, especially probably younger people, would love this. I wouldn't mind this at all. Got a cool backyard, kind of. Wow, how glossy is that deck? Holy smokes. How was that glossy? Is it wet? Is it just wet? Am I overthinking that? Why does nothing else look wet, though? I think it is. But anyway. Yeah, it's cool. This reminds me of the Southwest, right? There's not a lot of grass going on here. It's more of like hardscaping everywhere, and that's what we had when we lived in New Mexico for a time, right? No grass in sight. So very easy maintenance yard, and lots of sunny weather to go out and enjoy. Yeah, this is a cool house. Not anything crazy, but not bad at all, right? I like the sliding door, a lot more fancy than you would typically see here in like a, average home. I will say one thing, and maybe I'm wrong here, right? We get a very limited view of this stuff. There's literally millions of homes everywhere, so take this with a grain of salt. But from what I'm seeing, I'm a little surprised that the even for these modern homes, it almost looks like the ceiling is pretty low. Not like dangerously low or anything like that. I just mean they're not like vaulted ceilings, they're not tray ceilings. There's no just higher ceilings, right? And for somewhere, typically the further south you go, when you get, into New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, you get to hotter climates here in the U.S., they almost have to, I think, have higher ceilings because, of course, they're going to have AC as well and all that. But, you got to help get that heat up, heat rises. So they have higher ceilings, at least in my experience down there, because that's kind of important, right, for the temperatures in the house. And I just think of Australia being very hot, in most of the country, especially when it comes to summer. So for 3 months minimum, some places 4 or 5 months, you're going to get some scorching hot temperatures. I feel like I'm surprised that there's not many high ceilings I ever see, but that could just be what I'm seeing and not, the actual case.
Alrighty, let me show
Western
you what
Australia.
$630,000
Nice.
is going to get you within the suburb of Butler in Western Australia. As you can see,
I
this
love the
beautiful
style
property
already.
sits on a whisper quiet street.
Nice.
It is a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage home. However, it does have
size.
the ability for the side access gate to open up to drive through a 3rd car for safe and secure storage.
Wow.
This here is the main bedroom.
So one thing
as you can see,
I find interesting is that now this is like this anywhere, of course, but look how much more affordable or cheaper, whatever you want to say, Western Australia is. Now, I know that takes a special kind of person because Western Australia is way out there. Once you leave town, there's nothing, right, in every direction for a long time. So I understand that. But, this is $630,000, and it looks like, we'll see the whole thing. I'll kind of play it, actually, while he's going there. But, this is, I think, a nice house. It's pretty big. You got a lot of bedrooms. You got a couple bathrooms. And that $1 million house in Sydney was hilariously small, at least for that price, to me, right? And so you kind of see like the difference. I mean, this is almost half that price, and this is a lot more house, at least from what it looks like, right? This is somewhere in Butler. Now, I don't know where that is. We just know we're in WA. I don't know where we're at beyond that. So if you guys want to weigh in on that, if that's good, if that's laughable, if that's bad, whatever. Nice open area.
And dining room layout. I absolutely love how spacious and open
Yeah, I do.
plan this
I do too.
property is.
Still low ceilings, not a big deal at all. I'm just pointing it out because I feel like it's an interesting difference. I would have pictured high ceilings in a hot environment there as well, but there might be other ways that they figure that kind of thing out, and I'm totally missing it, which is fine. That's probably the case.
Reverse cycle air conditioning featured throughout the entirety of the home. You've got security camera systems. You've got polished porcelain tiles on the floor there. This is obviously the kitchen with a double sink. You've got the dishwasher. You've got a 5-burner gas stove top. Although a single fridge you just saw, it is a double fridge space. And check this out. Double pantry. Huge, spacious pantry, which is awesome. Here's another one of the bedrooms. So this would be bedroom number 3. There is only a couple living in this house, so they are using the bedrooms as alternative rooms, but that was bedroom 3, bathroom 2. You've got your own separate laundry with additional toilet and linen storage. There's bedroom number 4. Nice and spacious. So you can see the bedrooms are all really decent size.
Yeah, they are.
This here is the activities.
They really are. The bedrooms, I don't think, are too much smaller, if at all, than typical bedrooms in, most houses or average houses here. So Yeah, this is looking good. This is looking good.
So the current owners use this as what they call the library, but you could put a ping pong table and turn it into an activities room or whatever you wanted it to be. Maybe it's a study.
And you get a pool for this price? Holy crap. Yeah, I feel like this is a lot cheaper than Sydney.
And then the outdoor space. Check this out.
Wow.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Very well done
the
back
alfresco,
there.
You've got the patio, you've got a beautiful swimming pool, you've got the synthetic lawn in the backyard. So
I could only dream of that.
A really, really good sized block. It is 640 square meters. Overall, an absolutely stunning house, spacious backyard for kids and dogs to run around. I just love everything about this property.
Interesting. I always think that kind of the less than ordinary or famous places are a little more interesting usually, right? Western Australia always stands out to me when we do kind of Australian stuff. Even to some extent, dare I say it, South Australia, Adelaide in particular, right? And Tasmania. Now I know the jokes, but at least Tasmania you can tell is very, it's a very scenic place, and there's not even much about it online, which is so interesting because I don't think any houses we're seeing here are in Tasmania. And I thought that would be an interesting point to note.
All right, we're all finished building a house. Amazing, that's great. Just one little thing. This part of Australia does get extremely hot in the summer and below freezing in the winter. And we couldn't really decide whether we should build it to keep it hot or keep it cool. Yeah, I think you just use insulation. It does both. Not quite familiar. Like insulation in the ceilings and the floors. Double glazed windows, like air and vapor barriers. Yeah, so like which did you pick? You said like you could decide if you wanted to keep it hot or keep it cool. So like which did you do? We did need a... Gotta run. What? All right, we're all finished building.
Y'all don't use insulation? Damn, that is super essential. That's like one of the most important parts if you're building a house, I feel like. Maybe this is a generalization, if that's true, or maybe this was just a while ago. Maybe newer houses are, it's getting more common. Hopefully, that's pretty wild. Yeah, insulation, I think, is pretty essential. I would guess. I would wager a guess. But that's just my opinion. And then this is like actually a long clip. You can see it's like 8 minutes. I'm definitely gonna watch this whole thing, off camera, but I just wanted to give you guys a glance. This is like 1972 or just housing in the 70s. And what's kind of crazy is I get the same vibe, right? Now, of course, you guys are, more familiar. If you're watching Australia, you're more familiar. Or if you were alive around this time, you're more familiar than I, certainly. But at first glance, it almost feels like, very similar vibe and similar styles. Granted, I'm sure there's a lot going on different here than you would see nowadays, but I think you get my point. It still looks Australian, which is cool. It looks different than here. It looks different than places in Europe I've seen. I love the style. Now, of course, you could tell it's 70s, right? You could look at the hair, look at the clothes. It's just kind of cool, right? Everyone's in shape. Everyone's got posture, No one's looking down at smartphones and tablets. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of cool, though, to get a look at the yards, the trees, the houses. Look at this lawnmower action there. Still cutting the grass even back then, naturally. I love the cars. Even Beatles. Beatles were everywhere, weren't they, in the 70s? Truly. Look at this old playground, an Aussie playground from the 70s. How fascinating. Wow. Now, these are not houses. I don't think. This is more like apartments, I would imagine, or some sort of community housing. There's an overhead shot. Parking lots, Yeah, this is like some sort of big-time housing, not individual neighborhoods or whatever. But, yeah, pretty interesting. And I don't know where this is, by the way. I don't know where this is in Australia. I would be thoroughly impressed if anyone watching this did know where it was. Somewhere that likes bicycles. That's for sure. Wow. John Martins, did that say? Maybe someone recognizes the aerial shots. Who knows? I bet this looks a lot different nowadays. I think we can concur that. I love looking at old stuff, man. This is really cool. And the comments resonate extremely well with me. This is one thing we can both agree on and both resonate with. These homes, a lot of them, far better quality. a lot, you know, when one parent could afford to stay home and still afford a nice family home and a new car. I totally hear that. Back when regular people were allowed to own homes, today you need to be a millionaire to live out west out of your 60-year-old fibro home. Yeah, it is crazy times we're in. I can definitely vouch for that. I'm going to end it there. That was interesting. Those are some homes on TikTok. Some homes in Australia, and they were all sunny. They were warm. It reminded me of like kind of southwest vibes, at least here in the U.S. Like if anything was remotely similar, that would be, you know, my bet here. And that's what I like here. Those are the vibes I like. So yeah, Australian homes, Australian neighborhoods, I like it a lot. I think they're pretty cool. If you are able to, I think there's some great houses there, it looks like. It does suck how expensive they are. And that is just a problem in so many countries. So for that, if you're struggling, you know, wrapping your head around that, you're not alone. This only scratches the surface. I still would love to do more with this and really find some interesting buildings and interesting homes that probably are a lot more, you know, unique and fascinating than even anything we saw here today. So, and yeah, that's going to be it for this one. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.